Well, in this video, I'll just simply explain why it's usually a good idea either to ignore or just laugh at people that are rude and obnoxious, and also all these social justice warriors. First off, with social justice warriors, feminists, Black Lives Matters, and those type of groups, remember the simple thing: the burden of proof is on them. The person making a claim, the burden of proof is on them. They have to prove that there's a wage gap and that the wage gap is for the reason they claim. They have to prove that there's institutional racism. They have to prove that there's a rape culture. They have to prove that the patriarchy actually exists. They have to prove these things. Otherwise, they have no argument. So far, what you see from these groups is anger, violence, hatred, and just cruelty and nastiness. I mean, there's no reason to debate them, and the fact that they will go out of their way and say that if you're white or a male, your opinion doesn't matter, that's further proof they really have no real true argument, and really, if they're unwilling to listen to you, you do not have to listen to them. And of course, you'll get these rude people, they want to get in your face and yell and scream at you, tell you off and all this crap, for stupid ass reasons. Some people, they just get angry for no reason. Like you do a lab, running a lab, and a student gets pissed off because an analytical balance is not working the way they think, is not zeroing out as fast as they want. Should I get angry with them when they get upset? Should other students get angry with them because they're upset and having a fit? Of course not. I had a student do this not too long ago. Another student just simply, politely, calmly said, "You have no excuse to get angry because the balance is not working as fast as you want." Analytical balance takes time, and if there's movement in the lab, of course, it's going to take time. I've had students, as an example, they'll get huff and puff and get angry and cuss and get upset, even if you try to help them. Should I get upset with them? Of course not. What I do is laugh at them. I laugh. I've laughed at people who've gotten angry and they get more pissed off, but who cares? It's just, why so serious? If people are going to blow the top because you think differently than them, you have different opinions than them, and they're unwilling to listen to your opinions, you don't gotta worry about them. And it's the same thing, you're driving, and people do stupid ass things, cutting you off, tailgating, they drive super ass freaking slow. Of course, they speed up a bit when the light's about to turn red because they want to run the freaking light. Because that's just what they do. Should you get pissed with them? Of course not. Of course, sometimes they'll slow down at the light so you get stuck and then they go. Of course not. Why get pissed? Why get mad? As long as they don't cause an accident, why should you? You got to ask yourself this simple question: Is this really worth my time? Is it really, should I give them the enjoyment of seeing me angry and upset? Because that is what is going on. They are getting enjoyment. Sometimes people, they'll tailgate you, cut off, and slow down. Why? Because they want to see you pissed off. They want to see you hitting the steering wheel and yelling and getting upset. They want to do that. Or you're trying to pass them and they speed up, because they're going so slow. And then they make sure you can't pass them. Because they're purposely trying to piss you off. Do not let them see you getting pissed off. At work, you have these horrible co-workers, or in school or whatever. Never let people see you getting pissed off. Just laugh. Laugh at them or ignore them. They're not worth your time. Social justice warriors are not worth your time. Do not engage them because they're not interested in debates. You have some dumbass professor, for example, make a comment, well, anyone that's against safe spaces and trigger warnings is an idiot. They go and work in their segregated jobs. And of course, the professor himself is an idiot because he's working in a segregated job. First off, all these college professors are liberals and they think alike. I'm not saying all liberals are horrible now. They're not. But these are the extreme left, just like the extreme right with these Christians, and these other weird right people. And that's another thing, though. Just like, atheists have to prove that God exists. These people, they insulate themselves in these colleges from other people's opinions. The only people working there are people who think like them. So they have the worst type of segregation. Nobody is allowed to think differently. The social justice warriors are extremely dogmatic. They will turn on each other if any one of their group has an opinion. Black Lives Matters, have you heard what they say to black folks that don't think like them? Or these extreme feminists say to women that don't think like them? These people that are purposely trying to get you angry driving or you're shopping or whatever, you know, they get directly right in front of you, or people, as you're driving, they purposely go slow during the intersection, walk so slow. They're purposely trying to get you angry. And you know, sometimes they'll look and they'll smile and everything will laugh. It's because that's what they're doing. But if they see that they can't get you angry, it frustrates them more. For example, I'll give you another example. On the internet I saw several years ago, the Ku Klux Klan, those jokers, decided to send on the town and give their little racist garbage. But here's what happened. A flyer went through this town not to show up. If you disagree with them, do not show up at all. Well, this is what happened. The KKK showed up, and the only people that showed up were their supporters. And of course, it was only very few. They left in 5 minutes pissed off. Why? Because they're not trying to spread their hatred as you may think. They want to piss other people off. That's what these groups do. Black Lives Matter, these extreme feminists spitting on people, you know, social justice warriors, they get in people's face, spit on people. That's why they bust into meetings and behave the way they do. They purposely want to piss people off. The best thing to do is just ignore them, laugh at them, or call the cops. Don't be afraid to call the police on people that are getting overly aggressive. They may or may not get arrested, but don't ever feel afraid to call the police. It is better that the police show up before you get so angry and worked up that you may respond with violence, or they will respond to you in violence. And there was a nice video I saw this morning. I may or may not remember to put it in my description. Hopefully I do. You know, this guy goes into a predominantly white area and holds a Black Lives Matter sign. Most of the whites, you know, there are a few that agree. Most of them disagree. They say all lives matter. Then he goes into a black neighborhood with all lives matter. Of course, all those black folks got violent towards him. Well, I can't say all, but the majority of them got violent. He did the right thing, ran away. Of course, there's no real point in doing what he's doing but to invoke violence anyways. But it does prove a point about these social justice warriors. That's just, they're into their dogma. They've been brainwashed, all social justice warriors. They're brainwashed and thinking that their opinions are right. They do not want to hear other people's opinions. So you are not obligated to hear their opinions. If they don't want to hear your opinions, they don't want their opinions to be put under a microscope and dissected and determined if maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, maybe it can be improved somehow, then don't listen to them. If they don't want that, then screw them. Not worth your time. Science does not work that way. Science does not work on intuitions and feelings and emotions. These professors and all their thoughts and opinions are just that, opinions. Whether you're liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, all that's really based on opinions. There's no excuse for people not being able to speak to each other. And of course, you're going to come across people that are extremely aggressive and violent. Just ignore them, walk away if you can, laugh if you can. And even if you're just alone, just try to laugh it off. It helps you better when you just laugh it off, you know. Don't engage them if you can't. Call the police if they're getting too aggressive. Don't feel afraid to call the police, okay? Just don't. Let the cops handle it. I know what some people think, well, you don't call the cops, that just makes you a wimp and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, do you want to go to jail? Do you want them to respond in violence towards you? Do you want to get shot or attacked? And if you're arguing with a woman, I hate to tell you this, but most of the people are going to take her side automatically. It does not matter if you're quiet and just completely ignoring her. People are automatically still going to side with her. There are videos on YouTube where you see what you do. And you see a woman arguing, screaming at this man sitting on a bench. And he's just on his cell phone ignoring her completely. completely ignoring her. People are still on her side. They have no clue what's going on. And that will happen to you, which is why you call the cops. You just laugh at them, ignore them, walk off. Don't engage them. I've dealt with these types. You know, a woman thinking I'm attracted to her and that I'm interested in her. And she starts yelling and screaming at me. You know, this happened in high school. You know, I didn't even notice this female. I had no way of seeing her. I never looked at her, never saw her, never noticed her. Now, let me ask you this. What do you think I did? Okay? Did I engage her, yelled and screamed at her back? No. Did I try to explain calmly that I was not interested in her, that I never saw her, don't even know who she is? No, because she ain't going to listen. People like that respond with emotion do not listen. That's why you got to calm down first and then think of appropriate action. What did I do, though? You want to know? Of course you probably don't. But I just walked away and completely ignored her like she didn't even exist. She shut her mouth once I got a few steps away from her. Never heard from her again. And I'm sure I passed by her locker every day because her locker was in that hall. There's no point in engaging these people. They're not interested at all in rational debate, so do not engage them in rational debate. You will not explain something to a social justice warrior. They're not going to listen. You're not going to explain anything to someone who's overly emotional, getting upset over something stupid and silly, because they're just not going to listen to emotion. Try it when you see a 2-year-old having a temper tantrum. Get to their level and just talk rationally and peacefully to them. See if you're going to get them to listen. Guarantee you most of them will not. The same way with these bozos. Alright? The same thing. Well, feel free to like, subscribe. Feel free to watch any of my other videos or leave a comment or, thanks.